Let's go to Ohio now. Education and police groups there are condemning the state's new law that makes it easier for teachers and faculty to carry guns in school. The law reduces the hours of training required from 700 to 24. And critics are warning of some dangerous unintended consequences.
When it comes to an active shooter situation, are these teachers going to be proficient enough to be able to be on target and not strike other students in a crowded cafeteria or gym or auditorium or something like that? There's going to be mass chaos when this shooting occurs.
Ohio also became the 23rd state to allow permitless concealed carry. Joining me now is Melissa Cropper. She's president of the Ohio Federation of Teachers. Melissa, thank you for being with me. I know that you and your group oppose this new law. I want to start, though, with the governor, Governor DeWine, defending his signature on this new legislation. Let's watch.
What this legislature has done, I've done by signing it, is giving schools an option based on their particular circumstances to make the best decision they can make with the best information they have. That's all any decision maker can do.
Now, I understand you oppose it. Tell me why.
Well, this is just preposterous. To think that a teacher would be able to stop an active shooter is the wrong notion anyway. And then to reduce the number of hours of training from over 700 hours to 24 hours is really just a distraction from the fact that our legislature is doing absolutely nothing to make our students safer.
And so why do you think then that the governor signed it?
I think the governor, again, is trying to distract from the fact that when we had a mass shooting in Dayton a few years ago, the people of Ohio demanded that he do something about it, and he has done nothing about it. So this is the answer to do something, is to arm teachers. This not only makes our schools more unsafe, it does nothing to help our children when they are in our churches and our grocery stores, walking on the streets in our communities. It's a distraction from the fact that they have failed to protect us.
So after the Senate passed it, before the governor signed it, I spoke with the Senate co-sponsor of this legislation. I want you to listen to part of her defense, and then let's talk.
There are some areas of our city where response time can be very quick and speedy in an emergency when minutes and seconds count. But there are other parts of the state that are more rural, or some of the Appalachian areas are going to be more difficult to get someone there.
So we've seen the failed response from law enforcement in Uvalde, in Parkland as well, and those, yes, are the outliers. But what is the response? What should be the protections for those schools that are maybe too long of a drive from the closest sheriff's office?
The protection is to stop people from getting the guns to start with. Let's make it more difficult for people. Let's do deeper background checks. Let's make it more difficult for people who shouldn't have guns to get guns. And let's stop putting AR-15s in the hands of people. That's how we really protect people, not by putting more guns in our schools. You've already showed that a good guy with a gun cannot stop a bad guy with an AR-15. And that's what we need to remember.
So I know that Cleveland and Columbus, that I've read, they've said that they will not change their policy. Have you heard from any of the bigger school districts across the state who will allow their teachers, their administrators to carry?
I have not heard of that yet. I think Cincinnati is also looking at not doing this with their teachers. So I think our larger school districts are not considering this option.
Yeah.
And again, remember, I think one important thing to remember about Ohio is that the option has already been there to arm teachers in schools. What this law did was reduce the amount of training from over 700 hours of training to only 24 hours of training, and most of that training not even being done with a gun.
Okay, so let me ask you this. The police union, they're against it, but now that it's law and say some school districts now allow their teachers to carry, they have to accommodate, they have to adjust. Some principals in these districts may disagree with it, but their teachers may want to carry. Your organization offers resources for the classroom, professional development. What will be the treatment of potentially teachers who want to carry? Will there be any resources to make sure that they are proficient, even if the school district doesn't? How will you try to, even with this law now in place, make sure that classrooms are as safe as possible?
We will be working with our local school districts, our local unions, to make the decisions within that local through the collective bargaining process. We will be pushing for more resources in the classroom and in the school districts to hire safety personnel if needed, and not to be using our teachers. In cases where districts choose to use teachers as security personnel, we will certainly be pushing for maximum amount of training. This law does not say that you can only have 24 hours of training. That's a minimum. We will still be encouraging our people to get a full 700 hours of training. But again, the more important thing is that we will be pushing for more resources in our school, such as social and emotional help, behavioral health, all those other resources that we need in schools that actually help students on a day-to-day basis.
All right, Melissa Cropper there with the Ohio Federation of Teachers. Thank you so much.